Right now, somewhere in your town, a homeowner is sitting in a house that is 85 degrees and they are filling in a form to find someone to fix it. And that form is about to be sold to 5 different HVAC companies. You are going to be one of the 5. You are going to pay somewhere between $50 and $300 for it. And then you're going to race 4 other guys to the phone, get beaten down on price by a homeowner who has 4 other quotes and lose. And you are going to do it again tomorrow. I want to say something that is going to sound wrong, and then I'm going to prove it to you. You have an ownership problem. In the next 10 or so minutes, I'm going to show you exactly where HVAC leads come from in 2026, why the thing you were sold 2 years ago has quietly stopped working, and the 3 positions on Google that produce almost every phone call in this industry. I'm not going to pitch you anything until the end, and I'll tell you when I get there so you can leave if you want to. Let's do the math on a bought lead. Real maths, not the maths a sale rep did. You buy a lead, let's say $80, which is on the low side for HVAC these days. That lead goes to somewhere between 3 and 8 HVAC contractors at once. Industry reporting puts a realistic close rate on a shared lead at around 10 to 15%. So let's be generous and say you close 1 in 8. 8 leads at $80 is $640 for 1 job. And that is before you have paid a tech to drive out there. Now, here is the part that should actually worry you. Contractors on these platforms have reported single leads costing $230, $317, $400, and when you account for everything, the effective cost of one acquired customer through these platforms has been reported north of $1,400. $1,400 for 1 customer that you do not own, who will go straight back to that website next time their system breaks. And if you're sitting there thinking you have just been unlucky or that you have not worked it properly, I want you to hear this. In 2023, the Federal Trade Commission settled with one of these companies for $7.2 million over how it described the quality of the leads it was selling to contractors. It was not you, it was the model. But the money is not even the real cost. Here's the real cost. You've been doing this for what? 8 years? The day you stop paying, the phone stops ringing that afternoon. You have essentially spent a decade renting. And I've spoken to a lot of HVAC owners who describe the same week. Absolutely flat out, text running all day, and at the end of the month there is somehow nothing left because the jobs were repairs and tune-ups and warranty calls, while the $10,000 system replacements went to the company sitting above you on Google, busy and broke at the same time. And that is the worst place a contractor could be, and more bought leads makes it worse, not better. Now, second thing, and this is the one almost nobody has told you. In 2026, around 68% of Google searches in the US end without nobody clicking anything at all. No website visits, nothing. The person got what they needed on the results page and simply moved on. When somebody searches with local intent, something like AC repair near me, the 0-click goes as high as 78%. 78% of the people looking for what you sell never reach anybody's website. Not yours, not your competitors, nobody's. They look at the top of the page. They tap a phone number and it's over in about 11 seconds. So think about what that means for everything you've been sold. The blog posts, the 4 articles a month about seasonal maintenance tips that you were half convinced nobody was reading. Nobody was reading them. The directory listing packages, the Facebook posts about your team of the month, the website redesign, the 3rd one. None of that was wrong exactly. It was just aimed at a version of Google that does not work that way anymore. You are paying somebody to fight the last war. And here is why I would not sit on this. The companies who take these positions now are going to be very difficult to move in 2 years' time because the systems reward the ones that have been sitting there building reviews and the signals the longest. Every month you wait, the gap gets wider and it gets more expensive to close. All right, let me tell you who I am. I'm Jacob and I run HVAC SEO. Before any of this, I spent 10 years in the Royal Marines. The thing that stuck with me the most is that no plan survives first contact. You can spend a week planning an operation. Everyone knows their job. Everyone has rehearsed it to death. Then the transport goes down, or the kit is not there, or you get dropped in the wrong place. And the plan you spent a week on is worth nothing. What matters is what you decide in the next 10 minutes, to stick with that dying plan or to adapt. Marketing is exactly the same, and almost nobody in this industry acts like this. They sell you a strategy and then run that same strategy for 12 months, whether it's working or not. And that is not being thorough. That's being too scared to admit that the plan was wrong. I check the plan every month. If something is not working, I say so and we change it. And that's the whole difference, having communication between us. For the last 3 years, I've been running local search strategies inside marketing agents for home services companies across the UK and Canada. Not sitting in strategy meetings, actually building the campaigns, running the local SEO, watching what moved the needle and what was expensive theatre. Most of those businesses are now in a position now where their calendar is booked out a month ahead. They get calls off their Google business profile most days of the week, and they've stopped buying leads. They've stopped relying on that paid advertisement. Now, I'm going to be straight with you about one thing because you would find out anyway. SEO is new. The results I just described came from home services companies, not from HVAC specifically. Same playbook, same Google, different trade name, over the door. But I'm not going to stand here and wave a 2-year HVAC revenue chart at you because I don't have one yet. And you have almost certainly been shown a screenshot before that turned out to be and mean nothing. So here's what you get instead. 2 things. The first thing you get is me, not a junior, not an account manager who forwards you emails to somebody else and adds a week to everything. I am taking on a small number of companies on purpose, and I'll explain why at the end. The second is a guarantee that most established agencies would never put their name to because they do not have to, and I do. And I will come back to that in a few minutes. So here is what we actually do. I call it the 3-spot method. The whole idea is this: stop chasing traffic. Traffic is a 2018 metric. Start owning the 3 positions that actually produce a ringing phone. Spot 1 is local service ads. These are the results that sit at the absolute top of the page, above everything, with the blue Google verified checkmark next to them. And they work completely different to normal Google ads. You do not pay per click, you pay per lead. Somebody has to actually contact you before you are charged a cent. And this is the bit I want you to hear properly. Your position in there is not decided by who spends the most. It is driven by your review volume, how recent those reviews are, how fast you pick up the phone, and your dispute rate, which means the 20 truck operation with private equity money behind it cannot simply outbid you into the ground. That is not how this one works. This is one of the last places in Google where a well-run local company beats a big budget. And on cost, in 2026, the average HVAC lead through local service ads has been running around $50 nationally and less than that in mid-sized markets. The average HVAC lead through standard Google ads has been running around $104, and on non-branded search terms closer to $150. So roughly half the cost on an exclusive lead, not one sold to 5 people. That is spot 1, and that is the one that turns your phone on in days, not months. Spot 2, the map pack. Those 3 business listings that sit right underneath the ads with the little map next to them, that is where the majority of local calls come from. And unlike spot 1, those are free. The map is ranked on 3 things: how close you are to the person searching, how relevant Google thinks you are for what they typed, and how prominent you are, which means reviews, citations, and consistency of your business information everywhere it appears online. This is the asset. This is the thing that you own. It does not switch off when you pause the budget, and it does not get more expensive every year. It gets cheaper per job the longer it runs. This is what you have been missing for 10 years while you were renting. Spot 3, and this is the one I would pay attention to if I were you, because almost nobody in HVAC marketing is working on it yet. Homeowners have started asking AI for a recommendation, not searching, asking. who is the best AC repair company in Tampa? And they get back a short list of names, 3 or 4, maybe 5, not 10 blue links. Now, most marketing companies assume that if you rank on Google, you will show up there on AI platforms. And that is not how it works. ChatGPT's browsing does not run on Google. It leans more on Bing, and a very large share of the local business answers it gives comes out of Foursquare's data, not Google's. So there is a specific set of places that you need to exist, and they are not the places your last marketing company was working on. Bing Places, Apple Maps, Foursquare, Yelp, your local chamber of commerce, local news, the industry directories these systems actually pull from. That is a checklist. It is unglamorous. And right now it is close to empty for almost every HVAC company in your market, which is exactly why it's worth doing this year rather than in 3 years when everybody has caught up. Now, here is the actual point, and it is the reason I do not sell these separately. Run paid on its own and you have a tap. It works and it stops the day you stop paying. Run organic on its own and you get 4 months of silence and a monthly report full of impressions, which is precisely why most owners quit at month 4 and decide SEO is a scam. Run them together and something else happens. The paid side pays the bills from week 1, but every job it books produces a review, and every review pushes you up the map and up the local service ads rankings, which pull your cost per lead down, which frees up more budget. The two sides feed each other. And that loop is the whole thing. That is what blended search actually means. And it is why treating them as 2 separate line items on an invoice leaves most of the value on the floor. 3 things you're probably thinking. I have been burnt before, almost certainly, and that is why I built the guarantee I am about to describe. You are not being asked to trust me, you're being asked to let me carry the risk. I do not have time for this. You do not need time. I need about 40 minutes from you in month 1 and roughly 20 minutes a month after that. Everything else is my job. If a marketing company needs hours of your week, they're not doing the work. How long until it actually works? Straight answer. Spot 1 can be producing calls within days of approval. Spot 2 typically starts moving properly around the 90-day mark. Spot 3 is a slow build with a big payoff. Anyone who tells you the map moves in 2 weeks is lying to you. One more thing before I get to the offer, because I'd rather save us both a call. This works best for companies running roughly 2 to 6 crews. You've got a real team, you are ready to grow, and most of your work is still coming from referrals and bought leads. If you are a one-man band running out of a single truck, the numbers do not work yet. I will tell you that honestly and point you at what to do first. And if you already have got 3 agencies and somebody in-house handling marketing, you do not need me either. The sweet spot is the owner who has built something real, knows he is leaving money on the table, and has never had anybody actually own this properly for him. All right, here's the pitch, and this is the part I said I would flag. If any of this has landed, the next step is a call I run called the HVAC Growth Strategy Session. Here is exactly what happens on it so you know what's happening before you book. It is roughly 45 minutes, and before we speak, I go and do a complete local search audit on your business, where you currently sit in the map for your money terms, where your competitors sit, what your local service ads position looks like, and how visible you are across the AI platforms. I charge $997 for that audit as a standalone piece of work. On the call, I walk you through it, screen shared, and I show you exactly where your leads are leaking and what the gap is between you and the companies beating you. Then I tell you honestly whether I think this will work for your business, whether we're a good fit. Sometimes it will not, and if you are in a market I cannot win in a sensible time frame, I will say so on the call and we will part as friends. But the audit is yours either way. Whether we work together or you never speak to me again, you keep it. Now, the guarantee. On that call, once I've looked at your market and your budget, we agree a number together, a specific number of qualified leads that you should be getting by day 90. Not a vague promise, a number written down that we can both sign off on. If we get to day 90 and I've not hit it, I keep working for free. No invoices from me until that number is met. And that's it. No small prints, no clever wording. The only thing I ask on your side is that you answer the phone and you run the ad budget that we agreed. I cannot make leads convert if nobody picks up. I'm carrying the risk here, not you, and that is deliberate. That's what being new to HVAC cost me, and I'm happy to pay it. One last thing, and it's not a fake countdown timer. I cannot work with two HVAC companies competing for the same customers. If I take you on, I am building your map position in your service area. And I cannot then turn around and do the same job for a company across the town, because I would be competing with myself and you would both get a worse result. So it is one company per service area, and I am taking on 3 new HVAC companies a quarter, because that is what I can genuinely deliver on properly while giving each one real attention. So back where we started, right now there is a homeowner in your town filling in a form that is about to be sold to 5 companies. And one of them is going to be you. Same as last week, same as next week. Or you spend 45 minutes with me, find out exactly what is standing between you and the top 3 spots in your own town, and start building something that you actually own. No plan survives first contact, but you have to have a plan to start one. And right now, you do not have one. You have a bill from a lead company. The button is right below this video. Pick a time that works. Bring your numbers if you have them. And if you do not worry. I will find them. See you on the call.